Hi everyone, this is Gayle. Welcome to my hashtag Be Bodacious channel. It's good to see everyone tonight. Yay! I'm back from my trip. So much happened on this trip. It's just been, wow. It was intense. There were highs, there were lows, there were everything in between. Wow. It's good to be back for a while. And I've got so much footage to go through. I'm still working on it, but I just wanted to come on tonight and do the live stream. We got back in the wee hours of the morning yesterday. So I'm still getting it together here. Let's see. We have Peter Parker, aka Spider Man the Hero, who's in the house, and Thomas Moore, Nashville Steam. So, hey to both of you all. I hope life's going good. Let's see. What on earth? Uh, I got some kind of notification on there from something about whatever. So anyhow, it's been crazy. Let me see if I can pull up a couple of real quick photos, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows that I'm live and it's posted in the group. Let's see. Today's 8:13. I about said 7. That would not be good. All right. Ending that. Okay. So I'm going to see about getting some photos of. This trip was absolutely magnificent as far as the beauty. Alaska's just unparalleled, you know. But getting there, oh my stars. We had so many things, crazy things that went wrong. It was just absolutely insane at times. So it's getting to be the MO where things just go wrong if I'm on a trip. But but what can I say? We still got more traveling to do this year, and yeah, well, I'm hoping for much smoother trips. So some of the things that went wrong, before you leave on a trip, or at least before I do, I always make sure to have the van checked out just to make sure that nothing's going to go wrong on the trip. It's just something I do each and every time. And I strongly recommend that you do it too, because it theoretically makes life easier. Now, for me this time, I was really glad I did it because we had things that went wrong anyway. I'm pulling a little trailer. I don't know if y'all remember, but 2 years ago, I pulled this little gray trailer, and I was caught in such a bad storm that the hasp literally pulled out of the trailer. Like the lock and latching mechanism and everything was still there. It was just not attached to the trailer anymore. So this year, my husband worked very, very hard to put this super sturdy latch and bar thing on the trailer, going the full height, well, over the full height of the door, right? So we're like, this will never happen again. We ordered tires, had brand new wheels and tires put on the trailer, made sure everything was greased up and perfect. But you can still have flat tires, even when you have brand new tires, if you run over something. So, going from Virginia to Alaska, I went in and talked to my doctor, and I was like, which way should I go? If I took the direct route, it was going to put me in areas where there was just a whole lot of smoke going on. If I took this kind of crazy route across country, it was going to take me into New Mexico. But the benefit of going through New Mexico was going to be just a side benefit. It was going to be spending the night or two with my grandbaby. And she looked at everything and she's like, with your lungs, go to New Mexico. Go see the grandbaby. Hey, we've got Valerie Reese in the house, my travel buddy. Valerie went to Alaska with me. And, well, we traveled separately, but she was in Alaska with me. Had a phenomenal time. She's an amazing cook, you all. Just absolutely an amazing cook. So, really glad to see you, Valerie. So, we went, just to kind of catch people up, we went across the U.S. to New Mexico and then straight up. So, what happened was New Mexico was having heat index of 115 degrees. It was just a little crazy. So, I started getting a little wobbly with the heat. Then I left and immediately ran into or ran across a little nail or something that I picked up. So I had a flat tire to deal with. A little crazy. That was the first thing, though. Um, hey, Tuber Chat is in. Hey. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Shared on Reddit. That's awesome. Thank you very much. Very, very much. I appreciate that. So yeah, so I ran into had this flat tire happen um, to my brand new tire, brand new. Had that happen. Called AAA. They took care of it for me, and they're like, "Go to the tire shop around the corner. They can set you up. They've got everything. Don't worry, no problem." Well, except they couldn't. So this getting a new tire um, was days. It was days. Got that fixed. Then I had a problem with my solenoid, and the mechanic that stopped to help me, she was a woman and just an interesting character. I'm going to do an entire video on her, just that experience alone. So, my refrigerator went out. We just had lots and lots and lots of things that went absolutely crazy. Excuse me, on this trip. Just crazy. So anyway, um, yeah, it's really, really good to be back home. Then the roads in going up to Alaska this time were probably, I will say, the worst I've seen them. Um, Going to Alaska is always a challenge. There's a couple of things you know to expect. You know you're going to have rough roads, and you know something's going to go wrong with your vehicle while you're in Alaska or on the trip, at least. That's why you do as much as you can ahead of time to mitigate things. And the roads were just really bad. So some things got shaken loose. But one of the things that we did to the vehicle was I always have an alignment done, y'all. Every time I got a lifetime alignment on the van for that reason. Um, but I had a headlight that was out. The passenger side headlight was out. So I said, rather than have my husband take all of his time and do the change himself, I said, they've got it. Firestone can just do the headlight things. So I don't know what's up, but let me show you. They went ahead, they charged a freaking fortune because they're like, okay, to change the headlights on the van requires the entire front grille to come off the van. And I thought that was a little weird. So I said, but if you've got to go to all that trouble, go ahead and change the driver's side headlight out too. Because, and I got a video I may or may not do on this, but go ahead and change it because it's as a preventative. They were both installed at the same time. So, one's going to go bad. If the other one's bad, it's just a matter of time. So I said, just go ahead and do it. Then they called me saying I had some other lights out. Would I like for those to be changed too? And I'm like, I'm a little frustrated, but I'm like, okay. So let me show you. I get so frustrated with this. This is my van after I get it. Now it's during the daytime when I pick it up. So I don't know how the headlights are until it gets dark. Well, it got dark on the way home, and I stopped at Love's to get gas, which you see the little dog park there. I freaking love Love's. Anyway, dog parks, 10 cents off a gallon with the app. I mean, what's not to like, right? This headlight, this one right here, this is my driver's side headlight that looks amber. Can you believe it? My brand new headlight, it was looking amber. So I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. But I had to leave the next day, so I didn't have time to go back. So my husband tried to work on it. The other thing was they didn't adjust the headlights. It was like they threw them on, but they didn't adjust them. So, and again, you don't know this when you're picking up your car during the day, but it becomes painfully obvious when things go dark. So here is what my headlights look like. Now, this is after my husband adjusted them and made them better. These are my high beams, not my low beams. These are my high beams. On the low beams, you couldn't hardly see it all. It was insane. So we've been going back and forth about this. In Firestone today, or yesterday rather, they gave me a credit and refunded my money that I'd paid for them to, the labor for them to put the headlights on. And I was like, that's fair, because it was just not well done. And they apologized, so that was nice. Let's see what comments I got coming here. Now, Valerie is saying that her transportation left a lot to be desired also. Yeah. Valerie, you flew. Do you want to say what airline you flew on? Because I know you had tons and tons of problems. Yeah, nice to see you back from the dead and being alive again, LOL. Not quite from the dead, but thank you. Yeah, I was gone a few weeks, so I missed some live streams. So, yeah. I think everybody had transportation issues except for one person on the team. I was seeing two people on the team, but what happened was my husband and I drove up. My husband drove back with me. He flew up and drove back with me. And I was saying that only he and another person were without transportation problems on this trip. But then on the way back, we actually got stranded at an overlook, a pull-off overlook there in Alaska. Or it may have been Canada. No, I think it was Alaska. Really interesting situation there, too, though. Oh, my gosh. My whole trip was filled with these absolutely insane, incredible moments just across the board. Like this one, okay, we parked for the night at an overlook. We get up the next morning, we take care of a dog, take care of what we got to do, and we go to leave, and the van wouldn't stop starting. Like you turned it on, but the flywheel and the starter weren't making good connections, and it was just, you know how cars sound when they start. Well, and usually they start and they kick over, but in this case, the starter kept going, and we finally got that stopped, but then it wouldn't start. So that happened on an overlook in Alaska. So that was his transportation problem with me. And let me tell you, there was two other people. They had stopped at the same overlook with their RV, also had spent the night. They heard us having problems. And this is just how small the world is. But they came over and they were talking to us. And in the conversation of things that were happening, we find out that we know people in common. I mean, here we are in Alaska on this overlook. Well, not really an overlook. It's really a pull-off because there wasn't much of a scenic view with this. But we're from one portion of Tennessee. They've got family in a portion of Alabama and a portion of Georgia. And we're talking, and we discover that we have people in common that we know. Now, how absolutely crazy is that? You know, So it was interesting, but we got the vehicle worked on. I mean, it's a matter of crawling under the van and whacking on something. But I just thought that was just kind of amazing that you would go to all of this distance to run into somebody in just a crazy situation, and people that they know. Have y'all ever had that happen? Put it in the comments if you have, because that's actually the second time that happened to me. Well, actually, no, that's the third time that happened to me. I was at Glacier National Park a few years ago, and just talking to a woman, and she was like, "Where is your accent from?" And I said, "Well, it's from Tennessee." And she's like, "Oh, really?" She said, "A friend of mine's from Tennessee." And we start, like narrowing it down. And yeah, I had just had lunch with her friend about a month prior at lunch meeting. And then we were at coming back another time. We were in Montana again, and we pulled off, and there was this large RV, and they came up. They're like, "Oh, you've got Tennessee plates," and I'm like, "Yeah." And look at the county, and sure enough, they were from the same county that we were, and there again, we found out we knew people in common. It's just traveling is so neat, and it's neat when you make friends on the road, but wow, when you find out that you have got friends in common with people that you meet, it just gives an extra kind of an added dimension on just how small the world is. And these are people, I want to clarify too, these are people that I know offline, and we have the people in common with offline. I think I'm not ever surprised when I run across somebody and I know them or I have friends with them, and they're e-friends or people I know from like life and working online. But yeah, it's just a weird situation. I think I was very tickled. So let me see. Peter's, yeah, highway robbery. Yes, that's what it was. I wound up paying Firestone like $339 and change to get the headlights done, of which they refunded a really big chunk of that. Good night to you too, Peter. Thank you very much for stopping in. Okay, Valerie says she flew on American Airlines and she's going to do a video of her flight experience. So I'm not going to tell you what went wrong, but I will say check out Valerie's video. Like, I don't know if I would ever fly American Airlines after the experience and problems that she had. So, y'all, let me see if I can get her link. Or, Valerie, if you may be able to type it in first. Let's put that link down. I'm going to put it in the description box too, so they'll have your URL. Here we go. I got it right here. This is her URL. I want to make sure that you all have this because you definitely need to check it out. Keep watching her video. Now, she is more on top of things than I am. I don't know how she does what she does, but she did, and she is much more on top of getting her videos and stuff done. So I want you to go give her a few minutes and check out what she's got. I'm going to actually, if you're okay, I'm just going to like just show your channel right quick so people know what they're looking for. It's just, I think it was a good trip overall. What do you think, Valerie? I know they worked us to death. A little bit less work as far as for people who have challenges cutting wood. A little bit less of the physically easier things to do than we thought. But yeah. So here's Valerie's channel. Okay. So go look at her videos. Go check it out. Make sure you hear about what happened to her with the airlines, because that story needs to be told. And I'm not going to tell it because it's Valerie's story. But make sure you keep up with her channel because you don't want to miss it. So go visit her. So, yeah. There you go. And that's her channel right there. And she says she's got most of her Alaska vlog videos edited and uploaded or scheduled. She's enjoyed editing them. Yeah, I'm still working on mine. I wanted to put up, I actually did several shorts, and I had hoped to get them uploaded on the road or uploaded from where we were, but the internet was not helpful where we were. And it's hit or miss finding internet on the road. You know, I could make calls, but which is weird because you would think it would be opposite. But I could make calls for a lot of the portion of the trip, but I couldn't stay connected with a steady enough signal to really get anything uploaded. So that was kind of sad. So I'm gonna be working through it, and I will say, and maybe this is just me, Valerie, you can chime in, but I think it's kind of feels weird to be working on these videos from far away when you're actually home. I just it's like this disconnect. It's good in a way because like I'm reliving the trip, which is really really nice and is really really fun. But on the other hand, you know, I'm home, so I don't want you all to think that I'm like doing something strange or whatever. Because I'm not. Well, I sort of am, but I'm. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. So yeah, we did have some gorgeous scenery though. I'm going to pop up a couple of photos right quick, just about the scenery, so you guys can see, and guys and gals. This I thought was really pretty. We're going through. I'm going at this point. I'm going through southern Canada. But I thought that was really pretty, kind of unusual for what we would see here. Like we would never see anything like this. So I really wasn't sure if it was a rainstorm or if the mothership was coming down because it's got that, big kind of circle / oval in the middle of it, but lots of rain coming down too. So that was really nice. And then just the sunsets and things. Oh my stars. Here we go. Here's just one thing. I was on the Dawson Creek side of the Alaska Highway for this one. Just absolutely gorgeous stuff here. Now, part of the Alaska Highway, or part of getting to the Alaska Highway, was really tough because of the smoke and fires from British Columbia. So here we are. This is Dawson Creek, and this is sunset. But when I say sunset, sunset is relative because it doesn't get super dark. It just kind of goes to a little bit darker than what you see here. Stays that way for, I would say, up going toward Alaska. It would stay that way for like maybe an hour, and then the sun started coming up again. It was really, really neat. But yeah, here we are with the sunset. Just super cool. Some of the scenery. We did run into bears. I saw a couple of those on the trip, on the road. Let me see, where's my list? Where's my list? Okay. Hold on. I don't know what I did with my list. Hang on. Oh, okay, here we go. Bears, porcupine, elk, caribou, bunnies, I can't read my writing, mountain goats, aka Dal sheep, can't read my writing. So those are some of the animals that we saw. I don't know what the ones were that I couldn't read my handwriting on, but oh, wait a minute. That says moose. By the way, we saw moose. And here's one of the little sheep. It's a baby, but it looks like a mountain goat. So that's what I think lay people who don't really know what we're looking at, because we don't see them every day, would call Let me see. Going back to the chat here. Yeah, Valerie says, I've been home for a week and you just got home, so I've had more time for editing and posting. But yeah, but you were able to post some while in Alaska, and I was really impressed by that. The return flight had challenges also. Yeah, yeah, I was upset on your behalf for that. Nothing I could do, but I just, y'all, you're just gonna have to see it when it comes out. That's all I'm gonna say. Watch those videos because the story needs to get out. Kind of like my experience with Firestone. That story needs to get out. So I just told you all about what happened. I may or may not do a video on it because I've got so many other videos to do, and that's why I thought I would bring it up tonight. I do have a couple of things to say that might help next time. But anyway, as far as critters, it's a baby. There it is, right there. Baby mountain goat. And there it is running across the road right in front of me there. And let's see, where's the other one? Here we go. Now, I almost posted this as Find the Mountain Goat. But they're here. There's several of them right there in that lower corner. But they just blend in. Like, you have no clue. I stopped, came to a complete stop to let the baby go in front of me, and I just glanced up and I was like, whoa, is that? And so I actually had to take my phone and put it on the most magnification that I could to zoom in and find the mountain goats. But yeah, there they were. So I actually got a couple of shots of them. Not very good shots, okay? This is not an SLR. This is a phone, camera on my phone. I can't even talk tonight. So there they are. So, some of the critters that we saw there. There's a little bit better shot of some of them. But don't they just blend in? Is that not amazing? Let's see. Oh, Thomas More National Steam is in. Hi, good to see you. The internet at the church was very slow, but the bed and breakfast we stayed at had a really fast internet, so I did edit and load a couple there. Yeah, I don't know how you got it all done. But yeah, it was really, really slow. I was surprised. I remembered it being very fast last time, but things change. Obviously, that's one of them. So, but she did get some things done from there. But go ahead and upload. Go ahead and check her channel. She's got some neat stuff going on. Do you? Tennessee Valley Railroad Spike from Chattanooga, Tennessee. That's awesome. That is awesome. Chattanooga's a neat town, too. Neat place. Let's see. Let me go back here. Valerie says she got a quick clip of an Alaska passenger train. It's in one of her videos. Yeah. Yeah. The Alaska Railroad is really, really, really pretty cool. They are a public railroad, but they run it like it's private, so they expect it to make a profit. And over in the Talkeetna general area, going kind of north, they actually have a flag stop. And that flag stop train is like the last flag stop train in the U.S. Literally, they say you can go out and wave it down and it'll stop and pick you up. Now, it's going to take a few minutes to stop, okay? It's not just going to turn on a dime. But yeah. So here's a photo here. And Valerie's probably got better stuff on her phone, but this is one of the engines, the 3007 Alaska Railroad engine. And these things go through everything: snow, ice. They have to wait for critters to get off the tracks so they can go. I mean, just absolutely everything. And then here's a photo of one of the trains that we saw in Canada. I'll pull that up too. One thing I noticed is that the trains are a lot longer in Canada than what we have here. So this is one of the pictures I got. Obviously, I couldn't stand there by the side of the road and take gobs of pictures. I had to get back on the road. But yeah, here we go. And this thing, I don't know how long it was, but it was freaking long because, like, forever it seemed to go on. But I couldn't stand there that long and count the cars. The So yeah, the photo here, it's gonna, because you can't see either end, so that's just gonna give you an idea. But I did see where a regular car did some off roading through the median. I don't think you're supposed to really do that, but there you go. I don't know how long they are, um, how long they can get. Do you know? Is there a length limit? I know there's a speed limit that the trains have to follow, but is there a length, or does it just all depend on the number of and types of engines and the terrain? I'm going to let our expert here fill me in. I'm going to go over here. That is cool. Yes, Valerie said she saw moose too. I had more luck seeing moose than I did anything else, but I did see some of these other critters, which was nice. Now, one year we went and, like, we saw critters left and right. And I just kind of wonder if the fires that they had a few years ago, if the bigger animals are slower to take over again. Of course, they're wildlife, so it's not like you're guaranteed to see anything. But yeah. Southern 4501 passed over the railroad spike. Okay, I'm going to have to look for that and look it up. Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah, it is. And it seems like the Canada Pacific Railroad has a fair number of trains that they run, even in the U.S., in kind of that northwest quadrant, it seemed like. We looked for goats and never saw any. Okay. Do you want to borrow one of my photos? If you do, let me know. We can work that out. We did see otters, seals, sea lions, and puffins on the glacier cruise out of Seward. Did you like the cruise over? I mean, I know you like seeing the animals, but how was the cruise as far as personnel, ease of using the cruise, that sort of thing? Is it something that you would recommend, basically? And CPKC is Canadian Pacific in Kansas City, and they only haul 500 cars every single day. Wow! That just blows my mind. Absolutely just blows my mind. Of course, now, Southern Appalachian gal here, we don't have trains that are that length here, obviously, just because of the terrain and so forth. But the whole idea of 500 cars just kind of blows me away. Unreal. Unreal. But, we still, I think we discount trains here in the U.S. some, and we forget that they still move people. Like, you have Amtrak's and subway systems and Long Island Railroad and stuff, and they still move freight, just not as much as they used to in kind of their heyday. And I would love to see us get back to some of that. I know, I know, I may be the only one with this idea, but I would just like to see us go back to that. Um, because I've kind of fussed before. There were entire communities that sprung up along these railroad lines that aren't here anymore. So if we could kind of rekindle the railroad, that really might help some of these struggling towns um, that need a little TLC. But maybe someday. So Chattanooga actually the railroad even more so than the song, but they had a pretty good railroad system going through there, and it was pretty important to the town's economy, and they've been able to bounce back. But there are tons of towns where they're not bouncing back. And I do wonder about like progress being made, like even in Alaska, in Talkeetna, with that last flag train stop. And Talkeetna is a really interesting place um, for a short trip. I don't know that I would spend a whole day there, but it's a really interesting place for a short trip. But I do wonder, like, what's going to happen in several years when, as things grow up, and when eventually there's probably going to be a road going through there. So what's going to happen to those small towns? So, yeah. Um, okay, Valerie's saying the train went by when we were sitting at Beluga Point. We stopped for a bit to see if we could see any whales. Oh, yeah. Did you have fun? Did you find whales? Because you're talking about Turnagain Arm, Gulf of Alaska. And oh my gosh, it's just one of the neatest places. I'm gonna pull up a photo, or try to. Now this is an older photo because we didn't get there this past year. I'm gonna see if I can find it. So it's bringing it up from this year. Nope, nope, nope. Go beyond, go beyond. I gotta dig in my 2019 photos here for a second. The Turnagain Arm is just absolutely beautiful. You really can't explain it. You have to see the photos. Photos don't even quite do it justice. You're really better off going there, I think. And I've seen it in winter, and I've seen it in summer, and you're just not going to be disappointed by going there. It's just not possible. But if I could just find the photos. Ah, okay, so scrolling through real quick is not getting me where I want to go. Ah, darn. Okay, you all. If I find it, I'm not even gonna find it. Just go to Valerie's channel at some point. She'll probably have it up, or I might post it. Oh, here we go. This may be a little short 3-second clip on a cloudy day. Here we go. I'll share it, but it's just the coolest. Oh, wait, that's Alaska. Here we go. Here's Turnagain. That's not Turnagain. That's Turnagain. So just beautiful. And that's a very, very brief time lapse of the clouds moving over the water there. So, let's see. Thomas says, I was in Cape Girardeau, Mississippi 4 weeks ago. I was on the old Frisco Railroad. I found a railroad screw spike. They were holding down the rails. The railroad screw spikes are from 1940 and they're old. It's just amazing. If y'all want my email, I'll send it. Yeah, if you actually, do you have your pictures and stuff of that your on your channel? We can send people there if you want to drop your channel in. That might be better. You're welcome to send your email if you want. And let's see, going back to the cruise that Valerie took, the cruise was great, she says. We couldn't see the glacier due to weather conditions, but we enjoyed the captain. He was great at pointing things out to us and waiting for us to take photos and video. That is cool. One thing, too, about Alaska that people don't realize is the military significance they had during World War II. I hope he pointed some of that stuff out to you as you got to travel around, because it's really interesting. And so, what we here in the lower 48, a lot of people ask me, why are you going to Alaska? Alaska's not really part of the U.S. because it's off by itself. And the thing is about Alaska, especially when we start talking about like the Aleutian Island chain, which was actually occupied during a tiny part of the Second World War, that actually can serve as a jumping off point if some of our enemies were to set up and establish any kind of presence there. Then that point from the Aleutian Islands opens up the entire West Coast. So it's really important for us strategically to have Alaska just for the security of the U.S. And of course, in the 1940s, it became prominent in importance, and that's why we have the Alaska Highway going up and so on and so forth. That's probably a little history lesson that you don't want, but that's part of why Alaska is so important. Now, as far as the people in Alaska, I think they're pretty cool. We didn't get to work with the indigenous populations. They pretty much set up and handle themselves. But the people of the Alaska is just, they're just down to earth. They've got such a can-do spirit, even though a lot of them don't have much to do with. And the prices of things were just insane. I just about, okay, for example, notebook paper that we're paying 84 cents here. I took school supplies up. Valerie got a ton donated. Thank you, Woody Foundation. But the school supplies that we purchase here, okay, the notebook paper that somebody paid 84 cents for at Walmart, that same pack of notebook paper was on rollback at Walmart for $1.70. Wait till you see the watermelon price. I nearly had heart failure in the store over the price of watermelon. So somebody told me that watermelon is a real treat for the people in Alaska. And after seeing this display, I can see why. And this was at Fred Meyer, which is a Kroger, basically. And I just want to know, if y'all ever paid $15 for a watermelon? Anybody? $15 for a watermelon. OMG. I was like, no. Some things were not high, too much higher, but the things that were in the stratosphere. A couple of things were cheaper too, but most things were a lot higher, I would say. And we were fortunate. We got a bunch of our non-perishables donated, so we were really fortunate on that. Hey, I do. I'm still recovering. We got back last night / early morning. It was like 2 before I actually got into bed. It was, intense. Yeah. And my husband has not contacted you yet, but he's planning to. I really appreciate your offer to talk with him. It came through Valerie about the solar, because I don't know what's going on with it. I suspect we lost a battery. My husband says no, so we need an expert, and I appreciate that. Railroad screw spikes are made of stainless. Now that's interesting. I thought they would all be iron. I didn't think about stainless steel. Good deal. So we'll check that out. We'll check that out. Let me see if I can pull it up here. And if so, I'll just add your link. There we go. Yeah, I'm not getting notifications on your channel. I don't know why. Okay, here we go. So that is Thomas More and Asheville Steam right there. Okay. Let's see. Valerie says, we didn't see any whales, but we enjoyed a sub from Subway as we sat on the back of the truck and enjoyed time to just relax. That's awesome. I'm glad you had some time just to relax because the missions trip itself, it was pretty hopping. A little bit more so, I think, than what we've had in the past. But we were on it. We were like moving. It was like 6 hours of constant go, go, go. Y'all are amazing. Okay. Thomas said he bought a brass steam locomotive off Etsy last week. Oh my gosh, I bet that's cool. I bet that's cool. Right. I'm going to go back here too just for a minute and just pull up some of the prices of things. Here's the notebook paper that I mentioned that we pay 84 cents for. And they actually didn't have a whole lot of that left. Most of what you see here are notebooks. Cake pans were higher. Washable markers, $2.84. They had some dollar ones on clearance. You can see where it says it was $2.92, and you can see where they didn't have a couple of packs left, maybe. $7.92 for washable markers, like 20 count. Holy cow. So these are just some of the prices of the school supplies. And I took these photos because I've got to do a presentation at church. And I want them to understand like what the prices are that folks in Alaska are paying for some of this stuff. Our prices are much, much, much less expensive across the board. Bread for $2.48. I think I mentioned that over in the group too, that the bread and stuff was high. So I looked. I paid $1.19 here locally for the loaf that I got yesterday. Today, I got my days mixed up. I'm still catching up with myself. 2% milk, $7.38. We paid like $4.98, I think it was. Their brand of milk was $4.24, and we paid a whole lot less here. $7.34 for a gallon of orange juice, off-brand, great value. Butter, $4.78, $4.98 for the smaller containers. I can't read that as far as the size. Wait a minute. 15 ounce. Okay, 15 ounces. So those are just some of the prices. These, I pay $2 for a pack of cheese, Great Value brand, for that size. So yeah, prices are just crazy. $9.56 for center cut bacon, 17 ounce. $7.34 for Farmland brand. I'm not familiar with that brand, but that is a 22 ounce, so that would be a good price here. But the Oscar Mayer, I don't think is. So $18.94. Let's see what size this bad boy is. That's 3 pounds, so that's not too bad. So the bacon is not too far out of reach, but it's a little crazy. And a lot of the people that we worked with are recovering from a fire that they had a few years ago. So they lost everything and they're still rebuilding. So they're trying to, get the money together to rebuild. At the same time, they're buying these prices. So to fit in the difference, a lot of them have to rely on subsistence. And they may have, for example, they may have another job, but they're still going to do the subsistence in some parts, because they're going to have a garden and they're going to grow their own vegetables. Where here, a lot of people have it for a hobby. Up there, whatever they can grow is a necessity. And they're going to go out, they're going to go fishing. And I talked to a woman while I was up there, and every year she said she goes dip net fishing when she can afford it. And that caught my attention, because she says that it costs her around $1,500 to go dip net fishing, and she can only go a certain time of the year, and she can only go certain days of the week during that certain time. So it's a very, very narrow window, that she has to catch all the fish that she's going to use for the year. And for her, she and her family's primary food source. And that was really interesting, because for us, we go to Walmart, we buy the fishing license, we get a rod and reel, and we're out the door, and we've got how much is a license these days? Like $20, 15, $20, I think. And it's not like putting out $1,500 to go and do this. And she was talking about the expense of, you have to stay there, and sometimes you have to rent equipment if yours isn't working, or whatever. And it just gave me more of an insight on some of the challenges. And we delivered wood to a lady whose husband works clearing debris and brush and so forth out from underneath power lines. So if they have another fire come in, it won't be as bad for the power lines. And she was telling me that they were putting, and Val was there too, they were putting all that they could into getting reestablished, because the fire came up and actually took out her outbuildings. That's how close it came to the house. And she said if her husband hadn't created a fire break around their house, which she didn't want, she said she didn't want, she wanted her trees around her house. And her husband was like, no. And he created this fire break. And she said that's all that saved her house. But she wound up losing her outbuildings. That's how close the fire came. Can you all imagine living under this threat of fire? Like, for me, I'm here next to a rainforest. The Smoky Mountains, part of the Smokies, and the mountains attached to it, shall we say, that's a rainforest. So we'll have rain in this area of the country, like when nobody else gets it. And you really don't realize that, or at least I didn't, until I started traveling to other parts of the country and seeing how things are. And I mean, I know about the desert in the American Southwest. I get that. But I didn't really understand what it would be like to live there until I went there and stayed some time with my daughter. And it gives you, traveling for me gives you more of an appreciation, and being able to go on a mission trip and talk to the people who live in a particular place all the time and hear their stories, that helps me understand more too. It really makes me value what I've got just a little bit more. Anyway, let's see. Going back to the chat, Thomas Moore is waiting for the train to come in. He's excited. That's the brass locomotive he bought off of Etsy last week. Handmade even. That's so cool. A brass miniature train. Oh, wow. That's so cool. That's so awesome. I admire people who can do things like that. It's so cool. Yeah. So y'all, that's just some of my observations, kind of from this trip. It was really tough at times. The tire, oh my gosh, it took me days to get this stinking tire fixed because we bought two brand new tires for the trailer and had to put on before I left so I wouldn't have tire problems on the trip. But that doesn't mean you're not going to roll over something, and in which case, I don't know what it was that I ran over, but it was a little tiny cylinder. It looked like some sort of fastener for something, little tiny cylinder, but it was just the right size and shape to let the tire go flat. And then, boom, I had trouble the next day. And then it took me days to get the stinking tire fixed. I had the spare. We kept one of the older ones for the spare. But this tire, I didn't realize was a super odd size, and like tire shops didn't have it. It's a 10-inch wheel. Like, I called a tire shop and they're like, 10-inch, does this go on a go-kart? And I was like, a golf cart? And I said, no, if it did, I probably would have an easier time finding a replacement. And he didn't appreciate that. But finally, of all places, we found a replacement tire. This is one of the tire. This is not the brand new one. I took this picture just so I could show my husband how dirty it was getting. But anyway, yeah. So we found the tire actually of all places at a Tractor Supply, but they don't install it. They'll just sell you the tire, and it's pre-mounted on the wheel. So all I had to do was get somebody to put the stinking tire on for me and balance it, check the valve stem, do the basics. And like days, people, days it took me. So that was crazy. Solenoid issue was crazy. Van issue was crazy. The van, oh my gosh, the headlight on the van that looked like it was turning amber, that turned out to be a loose wire because they didn't plug the stinking headlight in. They didn't put the plug, tight on there like they were supposed to, and that's why I didn't make it home. So I had a loose wire there. I had on the back, when I went to pick up the van from Firestone, my husband goes, your back light is out. And I go, no, it's not, because I just paid money to have it fixed. And he's like, nope, it's out. So fortunately, we realized this before I leave, so he could fix it. So we had the brownout going on the stinking headlight. So I'm going to pull that picture back up again. This is what my headlight looked like. So I had that going on. This was on when they changed out the good one, and it's a loose wire. My husband had to fix the tail light. That turned out to be a wiring issue. So when I got stuck in the middle of nowhere and found out it was a wiring issue with the solenoid, and literally it took the person, okay, it still cost me like $90. But anyway, that's coming up later. I'll do probably a video and a rant on that. But it took us, we checked the fuses under the hood, and literally in 5 minutes, the problem was diagnosed. The mechanic called somebody to come in and help, and he was able to crawl up under there better because, like, I don't travel with jack stands. I might next time. But literally, once she saw that the wire was loose, she was like, I can't really reach this. I'm going to go get somebody. I'll be right back. She was, boom, he tightened it down, good to go. So I told Firestone, I said, it's just really odd that I have a problem with a loose wire on the headlight, a problem with a wire on the tail light, and then I have a problem with the wire on the solenoid. And he's like, but we didn't do anything to the solenoid. And I'm like, prove it. Because here we go. And so they were like, yeah. So they refunded the labor. But anyway, crazy things happen. So I wasn't sure I was actually ever going to make it to Alaska because of all of the things that kept on happening. But, I got to Alaska, I got back. Life is good. We did drive through an evacuation zone, though, evacuation from the fires. So that was a little interesting. But got there, got back, so I can start working on videos and getting them up for you all, because I have gotten asked tons of questions and I am going to answer as many as I can. Somebody asked me to please do a video on like all the towns and places that I stopped and do commentary on the itinerary that I did on each town. So I'm really not going to do that. And that's because the itinerary that I follow might be uninteresting to you because I didn't take time to see things. I was like under the gun in a hurry. So I didn't get really the time to explore and make videos of like the cities, and this is a restaurant you go when you go to the town or city or whatever. I'm going to put a few photos on Instagram, but I'm not really going to write out the full itinerary. But I'm going to give you a good overview. One of the things that I was asked that I've got a shorts video coming out on this coming week is how to use a bear-proof trash can. I didn't ever think about the fact that somebody might not know how you use a bear-proof trash can. So I've got a little shorts coming out this week. So if there is something specific that you all are interested in, and want to see, drop that down in the comments or send me an email, which I've got. Drop it down in the comments because I've got like tons of email to go through, tons and tons, because I've been gone just over a month and it's accumulated where I didn't have good internet. I have a lot of emails to go through. But if there's something you want to see specific, leave that comment down below. So I'll have the shorts coming out about how to use a bear-proof trash can. Somebody asked me what the rest areas are like. So I have shorts coming out of different rest areas on the way. And those were some of the questions that I was asked before I left. So I will be glad to answer. Just let me know. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I think, and I do have a shorts. People have been very, very concerned about Pipsy, my service dog, and how did service dog Pipsy handle the travel. So I have a shorts on it, and he did very nicely. I will say he travels better than some people. He did great. We did have a couple of little disagreements, he and I, on what belonged to me and what belonged to him. And so what happens is, you get your dog, your pet or your service dog, and it's like first the dogs steal your heart and then they steal your bed. Right? And then suddenly everything is theirs. And for him, the van is just an extra large den for him. So one of the things we had to negotiate is his ownership of my clothes. Here I have everything laid out for the next morning. This is in our van camper. I have everything laid out for the next morning. And then I hear a thunk, because this is actually the part that holds the bathroom and the bathtub. But I hear this thunk of him getting up, and he is sitting on my clothes. So I took a quick picture. I told him to get down, and he looked at me, and he got down all right. He got in the down position, laying across my clothes. So yeah, we had this little come to Jesus meeting. I barely won that argument, I will say, because it's kind of hard to argue with a dog because they look up at you and they have these sweet little eyes and it just kind of melts your heart. You know how that goes. Like this little picture of this guy, it's like, how are you going to be mad at this pup? You know? So he traveled great though. So don't worry about him. So, all right. Well, I want to thank you all for hanging out tonight. It's been great. I try to keep these to an hour, so we're going to go ahead and sign off here. But thank you all so much for all of your support on the trip, the mission trip. You know, just being there was amazing. Thank you for support of watching the videos. Y'all are awesome. Okay, so go out. Remember, it's hashtag be Bodacious, which means you're not going to let life get in the way of living. And let's see, I want to make sure I get this. The brass trains, wheels, and rods move. Oh, that's cool. And that's the brass steam locomotive that he got from Etsy. So, yeah. So, y'all go out, have your adventures. Do what you can. I'm a disabled woman traveling with her service dog, and I just went to Alaska. So look at your parameters and then go and do whatever kind of travel you can do that your heart leads you to do that you can. So, hence, don't let life get in the way of living. Thank you all for watching. Valerie says, have a great evening. Wishing Valerie a great evening too. Thank you again, Thomas Moore, for stopping in. Peter Parker, thank you as well. Buzz, thank you. And I'll see you all next week, Saturday at 7 p.m. right here on this channel. Okay, good night.